I don't know what page it's on, but I'm going to pull it up and then I'm going to recite it. What page? So it's train your eyes and ears, train your nose and tongue. The senses are good friends when they are trained. Train your body and deeds, train your tongue and words, train your mind and thoughts. This training will take you beyond sorrow. He is a true bish. I don't know how to say it right. How do you say it? Bishu.
Bhikkhu. Yeah.
Bhikkhu?
Yeah.
Even when it's spelled that way?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He is a true bhikkhu who has trained his hands, feet, and tongue to serve others. Meditates deeply, is at peace with himself, and lives in joy. He is a true bhikkhu who keeps repeating his mantras, lives simply, and explains the Dharma in sweet words.
In sweet words, not like how Venerable does it. You sure damn don't.
That's page 244 under the Bhikkhu, 25, verses 360 through 363. It's very good.
Yeah,
No, that's very impressive, by the way. God, Lord. I don't remember any lines out of the Dhammapada. Except everything is preceded by the mind. Now, verse 1, that's it. That's all I remember. So much for the clinical monk. How simple, right?
It's all mindfulness. Train your mind, your ears, your nose, your speech, what you do. Take you beyond sorrow.
Are you catching this?
Yeah.
Conditioning.
Mm-hmm. Repeat the mantra. Be here now. Live simply and explain the Dhamma in sweet words.
But the way you train body, speech, and mind is through silence. It's through silence. I don't think words could ever fully describe until I write my book and complete the darn thing about how careful I have to be in battling the minds of the student and their mothers. Mind you, now I have mothers calling me and playing prosecutor and public defenders on the phone. The gaslighting, the just the games that adults play, thinking that they could possibly make a pass. And for me to catch the games as it's unfolding and redirecting their mind in a matter of seconds and minutes without any moment's notice. I get phone call and I'm like, hello, hi, I'm his mom. And I'm like, okay, you know, you have mindfulness and you have supreme mindfulness and you have ultra mindfulness. And I have to kick my gears up to like, you know, kind of like stick shift. You know what I mean? Yeah. Going the speed limit and then going to prison and you shift it fast, right? To spar with some of them. But yeah, I really appreciate all of the mothers that call and spar with me. And I need that and I want that because that's what keeps me ultra bright and mindful, ever vigilant, because life is boring as a monk, right? If you don't have people challenging you and you just sit there and repeating the same thing over and over again, there's no of the mind, right?
No practice.
There's no practice, right? And I did not entertain it, and I kept it less than 15, 20 minutes with certain parents, mm, especially when it came to but you just have to be so skillful at it. And the fact that I've sat in silence for 1 year, find a monk and ask, that's one of the things you should ask them. It's like, have you ever practiced silence? And for how long? Do you mind do you mind telling me? That tells you volume of the teacher, because that tells you how skillful they are. Of the teacher, because that tells you how skillful they are and how well they have restrained the possibility of them restraining their words. Journaling helps you restrain your mind. You're having a conversation with yourself or another person. Hopefully they're that important enough and worthy enough for you to jot it down and then plan it out, which is what you had to do, walking on eggshells in your head. All for what? Or you have to ask yourself, all for what?
There's arguments, there's bombs, mental bombs.
The forfeiture of thousands of brain cells. For what? Without any guarantee of loyalty, without any guarantee of return on investment. Because somewhere down the line, you did not know how to adjudicate who is the wise and who is the fool. You know, I used to work with Ben Emilio, an Italian salesman manager. And if you didn't understand Ben, you would probably think schizophrenia is happening right now in the jewelry store. Because we worked at Tyrone Mall, and the store was like a big, T or an L. It was an L-shaped store. Beautiful store, wood, beautiful. Like from the outside looking in, like a multi-million-dollar store, and it was. And Ben, very critical looking man, right? Talented, skilled, careful with his words, very talented. I learned from the best. And he would just walk back and forth with his hand behind his. He would just talk to himself. Ben, what are you doing? He was preparing for a sale. He was going to make a $10,000 sale. He was going to make a $20,000 sale, and that's how he's going to do it. He got the customer in mind. He knows what they want, what they need. He's now curtailing it. He's now rehearsing. And I always sat there and I was studying this stuff, at age 20, and I'm just like, well, I hope it's worth it. In my head, looking at him pacing back and forth, really stressing him. It just looked really stressful. I mean, because I'm just 20, I'm just chilling. I'm just eating my M&Ms, watching him. And I'm just like, wow. I mean, and I'm really appreciative because, he's keeping the store going. You got to make sales for the store to keep going so that I can have a paycheck, and teaching me to be the next best salesman. So yeah, so it always came back to, I hope it's worth it. Hope it's worth it. Stressing out for the next talk to your manager, stressing out to your partner, to your loved ones and stuff like that. Is it worth it? It always strikes me that just because just so much mental taxing takes place instead of a nice, quiet life, peace, serenity, tranquility.
I can say through mindfulness, through training, the mind, oftentimes all those thoughts that we have, the anger, the frustration, whatever it might be, it kind of goes away, which is the whole point of it all. But then preparing for certain conversations or what have you, that also ends up going away. And you just naturally flow what needs to be said when it needs to be said without that preparation or stress of the conversation, the image training, putting yourself in that situation, maybe venting to get something out that you may want to say to somebody. A lot of that just fades away. You just speak whatever is necessary when it's necessary. Just flows.
Yeah, it does. For those who can be tamed by silence, they get some wisdom in them. And those who cannot pick up the silence that you emanate as a sign of seriousness, as a sign of reflection, those are most likely to be the fool. And one should no longer waste words thereafter. It's too bad. Too bad. There's no like instant Alexa that could translate. But yesterday, as one of the students left the room to go carry on, as they come to the end of the day, I received that phone call. Remember the domestic violence phone call? And everyone knows that I'm now returning back to work as much as I can in order to keep my programs going. So I'm now an active interpreter. And I said, yeah, this is my fee to go to Ocala, $250 to go to Ocala for this domestic violence case. And the woman just wanted to spar with me, just a little bit, fun spar. And was like, well, I wasn't the one that pressed charges. Somebody else did it for me. But you signed the paperwork for prosecution. That's why we're here. That's why he was arrested. Matter of fact, it was an extraditable warrant. They would play all sorts of games. Like I've never worked in the courthouse before. You know what I mean? And I'm like, the police are very good at what they do. Their job is to gather evidence and prosecute the right people at the right time with the right victim. And you're the victim, not the manager of the store that spoke for you. Yeah, they try that kind of. When you hear me start elevating my voice, that means they're actively trying me, right? But yeah, sometimes is it worth it though? Yeah, it is worth it. I have to get the money to keep all, so we have a place to come and gather and talk. I don't mind sparring at all. Then she gets the long end of the stick, which is, oh, well, I don't have the money, and I was like, well, I told you Friday you were supposed to Zelle the money, and when Monday comes, I'm not sure if I can actually be there on the 3rd of April at 9 a.m. And I'll change the policy. We were going to go from $250 to $400 on Monday. Life's all about responsibility. Why? Well, because you didn't follow the teachings of the Buddha. That's why somebody got beat up. Sorry. I mean, what do you want me to say? You've lived 40-something years of your life. You failed to pick up a book that was around 2,600 years old. You played a little too long. You played a little too hard. You got yourself here. Now you're wasting my time. And now you're trying me. And you and the person who beat you up or whoever beat somebody up don't value your freedom. And you obviously want to go back to jail. So you couldn't come up with $250. And now, now we're going to stretch it to Monday. Well, isn't life about responsibility? And I just like to make policies as I go along. And the policy on Monday is $400. And it will be. I've been doing this for years. I change policies overnight all the time to teach responsibility. Do you know that? So one great thing about being an interpreter and assistant director is, but it's also me too. I mean, I'm not sometimes not the nicest guy in the world because I really hold people responsible though. That truly, I really hold them responsible. Period. If you didn't learn it then, you're going to learn it now. You step into this office, my dad's office. That's it. Played a little too long, played a little too hard.
It's like the gloves.
Huh?
It's like the gloves last night.
What gloves?
In the air car.
What happened?
Holding people accountable. Lack of responsibility. Excuses.
Oh. Because they're wasting so much of my time. And they're wasting your guys' time. You know what I mean? Now we have a bunch of... Do I have compassion for them? I do. Do I understand them? I do. But you got yourself into this mess, and now you're going to have to clean it up. And quickly. Because you're wasting all these professionals' time. You're not going to do that. remember the fraud case?
Mhm.
Somebody somewhere down the line, they played a little too long and a little too hard and lost half of their retirement. But they come into the office and they play the victim game. But I know that. You see me crying or no? No?
A lot of people do that for manipulation,
Oh yeah, absolutely. It ain't gonna work with me.
victimizing themselves. I have
Sorry.
deep opinions about that. I'll keep quiet, but a lot of people do that to manipulate others to try and get something for free. Usually, it's about greed.
It's funny when you do clinical work in law and medicine for so long that you just hear the brief surface level and you can already tell somewhere down the line in the details of their lives, somebody gave into sensual pleasure and got themselves into trouble. The verse that you just read did not guard their mind, did not guard their speech, did not guard their hands, did not guard anything. They got themselves in, and then a geeky funny, a geeky funny. Yeah, yeah. Oh, they started the wheel, right? The turning of the wheel, the Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta, the turning of the wheel. That's what the Buddha did in his first sermon. He started to spin the wheel of the Dhamma. Well, guess what? All these individuals started to spin the wheel when they thought, "Oh, she's so fine, she's so cute. He's so fine, he's so cute." Keep going, Felicia. Keep going, George. You'll find out real quick against the advice of the wise. Right? And then along the line, a geeky funny. Let's go to the beach. And then the more a geeky funny until somebody crosses the line, take advantage of somebody, got gaslighted, got manipulated. And then, oh, do you mind putting me on your policy? Do you mind putting me on your bank account? Somewhere down the line, somebody got soft and didn't stand still in their standards, didn't stand still in their principle, did not use the best available science of decision-making process, did not go back to the Dhammapada. And when you walk into my office, it ain't a geeky funny no more. Holy cow. From all my students that came to the office, that's what I want you guys to see, because you will never see it again. You will never have the opportunity to see some of the office. That's what I want you guys to see, because you will never see it again. You will never have the opportunity to see some of these 80,000, something about the 80,000. $80,000 mistakes lately. For the past year, it's been $80,000. $80,000 in retirement. A woman who bought an $80,000 Corvette for a man that she known for 4 months and then sold it and now owes the bank $30,000. Now she's paying $30,000 on a Corvette to a dude now she'll never sleep with again. Can't touch it, can't rub it, can't talk to it, can't wink at it. Imagine that, paying for something that you can't. I have taken so many rebirths over the past year. It's not even funny, is what I call it. Right? You know, the Gen Zoomers are like, I'm dead.
Oh, yeah.
I've taken thousands of rebirths based on what I've seen out in the clinical field. And Steven drove the Corvette to the bank and we surrendered it. And I'm sitting with the bank, Capital Bank or something like that. And I'm just sitting there looking at her. I mean, ethically and morally, I wanted to say, I wanted to break some rules of mine and say, do you want me to take care of the car for you until you figure this out? Because you realize that the bank is going to auction your car. You don't know how much they're getting for it, and you will be left with the remaining balance.
That's wild.
Yeah, go ahead. So the fact that you remember that verse will make you one of the wisest women the world has ever seen. If you live by it. Not just remember, but if you live by it.
Yes.
And restrain yourself as much as you possibly can out in the world. And I swear, sometimes I just want to teletransport you all with me. Just grab you all with me, put you in my little pocket. See, my little monk pocket right here. So you all can hear the things that are unfolding out there. And I'm so glad my students are living proof, living tape recorders, memory of accurate, true, and complete accounts of these things. You can't make some of this stuff up.
Like the DMV. I remember that one move.
What happened?
The DMV, like the lack of communication and the appointments and the missing of appointments because of the lack of communications.
Oh, that's minor stuff. But some of these $80,000 mistakes out there. Who has 80? Who? I don't even have $2,000. I don't even have, well, how much do I even have the bank is right now? I have like $300 in the bank. I can't fathom. I can't fathom 80. And she's sitting there smiling and laughing. And I'm like, oh, you can't make this. You're laughing about this? Oh, woman, I died for you. I'm not sure when it's going to hit her. It hit me. I'm not even the person signing anything. And it hit me. Lord have mercy. Any other Dhammapadas that stood out for you all? Let me see if this thing is done with the Dhammapada. Come on.
I think Keith has one.
Oh, he was real excited.
Oh, Mountain Dew Code Red. I used to drink one of those every single day. Every day.
Mountain Dew, do the do.
Do the do.
We'll keep doing it.
Right, well, gives you wings.
We'll keep flying. We'll hit a tree one day, trust me.
Yeah, I don't need that. Suka.
It's happiness.
So I was cracking up when you put the stuff on
Put what on?
the video.
Oh, on happiness. What page is that so he can follow on?
177.
Joy. Sukita hontu.
Let us live in joy, never hating those who hate us. Let us live in freedom without hatred, even among those who hate. Let us live in joy, never falling sick like those who are sick. Let us live in freedom without disease, even amongst those who are ill. Let us live in joy, never attached among those who are selfishly attached. Let us live in freedom, even among those who are bound by selfish attachments. Live in joy, never hoarding things among those who hoard. Let us live in growing joy, like the bright gods. Conquest breeds hatred, for the conquered live in sorrow. Let us be neither the conqueror nor the conquered, and live in peace and joy. So just that part there alone, you keep going, but that's really what stuck out. Don't hate those who hate us. Loving kindness. Whenever someone's a jerk, just be kind, and they're either gonna end up being nice or they're gonna get out of your way. Either way, don't sacrifice your peace for those who just refuse to be happy. And then the attachment. Live in joy, never attached among those who are selfishly attached. So finding joy and like not being angry or being attached to anything. That's kind of writes up like the hoarding thing. It says, let us live in growing joy, like the bright gods, not hoarding, not keeping a bunch of stuff. That's, they have TV shows about the illness of hoarding. And that's just it's just an extreme form of greed. So that kind of blew my mind. Conquest breeds hatred, for those conquered live in sorrow. Form of oppression. But don't let yourself be conquered either. Don't give in to those who are going to stand against your morals. Something we were talking about last night. Stand up for what you believe is right, because there is no contrary to popular statements, my truth, this and that, there is no my truth. It's really the truth. Morals are truth. There is the reality. You know, the government, society, they could all say killing something is wrong or is right or it's wrong, but it's not based off of what other people believe. There is only one truth. There is only the right way. And I mean, you can't say a dog is a cat. You can change the name, but it's still a dog. You can't say that killing is okay just because other people say it's okay. A society says it's okay. I mean, they have movies about that. Logan's Run was like, everybody died at 30. How was your time? Your time's up. You get to live till you're 30. Little jewel in your hand turns red, and then they come after you. And in that society, it was okay because that was the society, but that doesn't mean it's right. It's not truly right. It's not ethically right. So don't sacrifice. That's how I kind of took that. Like, don't sacrifice what is right and be conquered. Don't give in to those who want to stand up to or to take over.
The only thing that is right is the Buddhist definition in the world.
Yeah.
How? Why? Because the Buddha didn't call it a dog. The Buddha didn't call it a cat. He says all living sentient beings.
Right.
And when it came to a human, it's a human.
Yeah.
Not man, not woman, not gay, not bisexual, not transgender. All of these extra that we put in the conventional definition.
It's just a person. It's just a human. It's just an animal. It's just a bug. It's all living beings, and they're all equally. That's like the first precept.
Right.
Don't kill anything.
Maybe mosquitoes sometimes.
Don't kill a mosquito.
Your karma.
It's tough.
All right.
It's tough, man. I genuinely can't ever know that every time she has accidentally squished a bug,
Yeah.
you verbalize it to me. I'm like, it's okay. I really like take that to, I take it to heart. Like, there's been bugs that have gotten in the house and stuff. I've spent 20 to 30 minutes trying to capture a bug just so I can let it back outside. There was this, I think they're called mosquito wasps, things that look like giant mosquitoes, but they're not. Got in, it was flying around. The cat was going nuts. She wanted it. I'm like, can't have it. No, it's up with the ceiling, just bouncing around. She was at work. I had this big plastic bowl that I used. And I'm literally, it took me like half an hour just to catch this thing, and I finally got it captured. I had to slide a piece of paper over the thing or whatever I used and took it outside and let it out. I'm like, be well. Don't die in here. You're stuck in here, you're going to die. And it's not going to be by my hand, but you're not going to be able to get what you need to survive.
Mm.
There's a butterfly I found that was kind of like up and down. Yeah, his wing was kind of messed up. So, like,
It's interesting. I saw an injured butterfly the other day at my house.
yeah. This one was in front of the car when I was driving to go pick her up for lunch. At work, on the little pathway, there's a small little, behind buildings are really narrow. I'm driving behind the building, and it was just in the way. So I stopped my car, went out, found a box, captured it, put it in the car, and kept driving. I wasn't just gonna drive over the bug. It's a bug. I saw it. Like, I would knowingly be doing something I don't stand for at that point. So the world can say it's okay to squish a bug. I don't believe it is.
And if the Buddha sat here, he would say, keep squishing, you'll find out
Yeah.
physical pain. As you cause physical pain to other sentient beings,
Right.
you will experience shorter lifespan, greater physical suffering yourself. The Buddha ain't gonna stop you. You're gonna be like, what? Go ahead, keep going.
Do your thing.
It works itself out.
It does.
Karma works itself out all day. See, that's why we don't have to force our beliefs on anybody. We don't have to do much. We're pretty chill as Buddhists. And again, the Buddha just points the way. Whether you do it, you'll see results. If you don't, and when they don't, somewhere down the line, they'll always crawl back. Made it very easy for me to be a monk. Very easy. It's one of the easiest to practice in the holy order, that I don't have to force beliefs or convictions on anything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you like hunting? Yeah. You want to continue to hunt? You wake up with back pain? Yeah. Well, keep hunting and you'll find out.
Right. So when you say that, it's like down in 204. Health is the best gift.
Read that. Is there anything else you wanted to share?
Just those last two verses, but I can pause there. There's really just the first part of that, but those last two verses are really pretty important as well. There's no fire like lust, no sickness like hatred, no sorrow like separateness, no joy like peace. No disease is worse than greed, no suffering is worse than a selfish passion. Know this and seek nirvana as the highest joy. It's mind blowing.
I like how you said you thought it was funny how those are lines that you wanted to share, and he put that up.
It's always that way, dude. Every week it's like that. It's the funniest thing.
It's kind of funny how after you dealt with something, or sometimes before you dealt with something, information makes itself prevalent. And the last two verses, 207 and 208, hit pretty close to home with situations I've got going on currently. Keeping company with the immature is like going on a long journey with an enemy. The company of the wise is joyful, like reunion with one's family. Therefore, living among the wise who are understanding, patient, responsible, and noble, keep their company as the moon moves among the stars.
That's important too. Speaking of immaturity, and obviously that touched on you, like touched close to you. But it's funny how those things always line up with what's being presented, independent study to the effects it has on, or how it relates to events of life. But keeping company with the immature, it's like I said this a little while back, but like you attract, like attracts like, yeah, I might look like a stoner, but I'm not. I used to be, right? I used to smoke a lot of weed, and guess what? I always just happened to attract people that wanted to smoke weed. And now I don't, and now I don't attract that. It's just like that. I don't look any different. If anything, my hair's longer. But I'm using that as an example, but everything, people that do and act certain ways tend to be around those. And once you kind of make moves to grow from that immaturity to, be with the wise, and what was that thing a while back about vibrations?
What do you mean, like the tuning fork?
Like if you bring somebody up Like if you're vibrating at a higher frequency, like you're gonna attract that higher frequency of like people.
Yes.
But if you like vibrate at a lower frequency, basically if you're happy and peaceful, you're gonna attract happy and peaceful people. If you're angry, then you're gonna be angry all the time, and it's kind of just like that energy. You don't have to necessarily be angry in the moment.
You're
But-
carrying it with you.
Yeah, but people that are around you are going to act in such a way that you're gonna notice it, and it's just the strangest thing. I don't know. It's crazy. It's so cool.
It's what I call walking, talking funeral homes.
That's a good phrase.
You know, some people walk into the room and then light up the whole room like Christmas morning, and some people walk into the room and you realize, someone order funeral service here today?
Yeah,
Wow. I mean, are the monks coming also too to chant?
it's like the energy that we radiate. I mean, you can get metaphysical with all that.
Especially with body posture and language, facial features and expressions. And when I was in high school, I was doing quite a lot of stuff at the time, and all my peers, would always come up to me, and I'd just be minding my own, listen to music. They go at me, "Are you good? What's wrong? Are you mad?" Every day, everyone, and I wasn't. I was just minding my own business, but apparently my posture or facial expression.
But you were mad, right? Probably like deep down there's something bothering you. In
Not
some way.
necessarily mad, but there was stuff going on.
Discontent, right?
Mhm.
We carry that, we wear that on our skin. I was the same way, when I was up until just relatively recently. I always looked just like an angry. People said I looked like a douchebag, an angry person. I don't care to use that type of language anymore, but that's what they called me. And I thought you said it too.
Yeah, I did.
First met. I thought you were a douchebag just from looking at me. Not because
You have
Well-
resting
well,
face.
I would tell you this. I would tell you this about structure and face, the molding of the structure of the faces, is that if you were an asshole and if you don't change, subsequently towards the end of your life, you will look like the greatest asshole the world's ever seen.
yeah, right?
I'm telling you. Some of the pawn shops that we've been, look carefully, study faces, study humans, study faces, study the characters, study everything about them. And it has to do with how they carry themselves, how they sleep. Those people, when they sleep real angry. You want to know if they're peaceful or not, or if they're an a-hole or not, watch how they sleep. It tells you everything. It tells you everything. Or if they're in progress to better themselves or not. But like I said, the Chinese, they wrote books on face readings. Face readings. The one of the pawn shops, this guy, I don't even know how he was able to have a job encountering with the public the way that he does until this very day. Still the same language, like ego, at like 65 years old. And I'm just like, I know he looks like hell and feels like hell. Just the nature that he is. And just at you, I'm just like, dude, chill. Wow. You know what I mean? If I really could, it's not my place. If I really could, I would be like, for 65 years of your life, you've been carrying yourself this way. How else has that been working out for you? That's what I really wanted to say, but I'm just like, ain't my place. I'm just a customer. I'm just going, shut up, look the other way. Avoid at all and any cost. But again, if you study faces, you just look at, we live in Florida, a lot of geriatrics. Study their faces. You'll know the ones that have been gracefully sailing through life, and you just see some of them. Go to the DMV. Go to the DMV and stand right there and just watch the encounters. How gently they encounter the front desk, or, what do you mean I need an appointment? George, wow, your whole life you've been angry. You figure on your 70th year, you're going to continue to be angry with people you don't know? It never, there must be, sometimes I sit back on a study of neurology and I figure that there must be a missing component in their brain somewhere, a component that they can't reflect, they can't think, literally they can't think, and that they're enslaved by the anger forever. Talk about prison. That's the prison of the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some heavy karmic debt. That is really, really heavy. Where my dad lives downstairs, there's a dude downstairs.
Mm.
He is notoriously known to find faults and sue people for them. He knows I'm a monk. And at this point, I don't even care enough to even go over there, knock on his door and say, "Can we have a conversation? I'm just wondering why you're such an A-H to everybody." You know what I mean? What has it served you? Does it actually bring you joy, happiness, contentment, serenity, and peace when you sleep at night? Or do you get a joy out of getting subpoenas and stuff in the mail, and that's what really, really gets your gear going? I don't care enough to even, because I don't think he can think. And in the scripture and text, the Buddha says that blessed are those who have intelligence. And that would be a component of human intelligence, the ability to reflect and think, to change. The ability to see that one can and will and must change for the betterment of one's life.
What was that story? The lotus story of the lotus flowers, comparing people and their intelligence level to understand the dhamma. Like it'll fall. Like depending on where the lotus is in the water, it is like it's comparing it like the wise are the ones who are at the top.
Right. And I don't want to sound judgmental. I think sometimes I come off really strong as a teaching Dharma teacher, but my job is to keep it real to people. I don't sugarcoat anything, but I'm going to tell you part of my wisdom and part of face reading is, if it looks unwise and it talks unwise, maybe it is unwise, and our job is to steer the hell away from those people. Yeah. The best they can do, once they realize that they can't, whatever their imperfections are, and if they're able to see it, at that point, give more, take less, George. If you don't understand the Dharma, if you don't, it's stuff that we're doing, you don't understand, you don't get, well, it's okay. Just give more in life and take less. It's the best thing you can do right now before you die. That's like the best. But our job as the wise need to train our eyes to see fools and the unwise and steer away from them, because that's trouble. It looks like trouble. It behaves like trouble. Is trouble. And so you need to learn how to interview, and you need to learn how to ask certain questions. You need to learn how to test some of these very dangerous individuals out there.
I feel like it's important to those who are open or who are ignorant to certain things, that are willing to have that fire ignited, to be able to share and to lead by example. But for those other folks who are not, those are the people we stay away from. Like we have to be smart enough to discern the people that maybe having unwise choices, but there's something there that
we screen for intelligence.
Yeah.
Therefore, we must learn to be psychologists like the Buddha did. He was the first psychologist, and guess what? You want to be like the Buddha? Learn to be a psychologist. One must study psychology. After all the studies is over, you must study psychology. The school of Jidao asserts. Period. Or else you're gonna meet all sorts of dangerous individuals that will stab you behind your back, that will gaslight you. I have been through some of the best and some of the worst. my resume of training stretches like 4 pages long, and I have still been gaslighted by some of the best. So what makes you all think you all exempt from some of the most dangerous minds out there? The minds that became dangerous because of their upbringing, and they have convinced themselves that life wasn't fair to me, therefore I will never be fair to anybody, and thus create suffering. In every way and shape and form I can, I will create suffering. They're like low-key terrorists, but like not like mass, type thing. They like they want to inflict harm in any way that they can. If they see you happy, they'll be envious. I mean, just really, like, what do you call it? Psychopaths, sociopaths, like really dark psychology, really dark. And if you don't learn to screen them and stay away from them, they will infiltrate your life, use you for what you can be used for, take everything away from you, and then run away. You will lose it. There's so many dangerous minds out there. And that's why the Buddhists teach. That's why this sets the stage. All of our teaching sets the stage for you to know the standard of wise and fools, and know how to really assess and evaluate an intelligent person and an unintelligent person, the capacity for change, the willingness for change. And once your gut feelings start shaking left and right, what is it in it for you? Are you being paid to do this? Do you want to be like Ben Emilio, running back and forth, talking to yourself, trying to curtail walking on eggshells to maintain a foolish relationship without any returns? What are you investing in? Right. Even if the dude was a million and billionaire, the foolish mind would still steer the whole thing sideways. Would be pain, sorrow, misery, lamentation. You know what I mean? What's good, like I said before, what is good is always going to be good. And what is not good, and once you have adjudicated this is not going to be good, thereafter nothing good is going to follow. And trust me, there are times where certain students come along or certain people come along my way, and I'm like, Dad, read this one. Read carefully. If I have my suspicions, I bring in other wise people to read them. And the congregation of the wise, the judges, will assent or dissent. My cousin being one of them, Andy being one of them. All of us were trained in the readings of the faces, and to read lines, and to read, the criminality, the recidivism, everything across all measurements of the highest level caliber of literally, I mean, you can call it FBI level profiling, but it's necessary for us to get to the truth of them. You know what I mean? If we feel that it is necessary, or for us to make certain decisions in certain matters and cases, but those are very special circumstances where that takes place. But as long as I have lived in my short 35 years, I've seen a lot of dangerous minds. And it's hard for me to disrobe, is because once I disrobe, then evil will proliferate. Here I am, one more monk in the world, trying to give precepts and remind every Sunday the continuation of, please don't be a terrorist to yourself, to other people, pretty much. Because once one falls short of the precept, nothing good there happens after that. It's the trickle and downfall, not purifying one's heart, not purifying one's body, speech, and mind, leads to heedlessness, lead to mindlessness. We don't need more of that. There's plenty of that in traffic alone. In traffic alone. So you look for evidence, right? In society, you realize, and and once they drive like fools, you get up to them and you look at them, like we all do, right? And you just realize how lost they actually really are. Lost in translation. I don't even know what planet they're on. I really don't. There's times where I come up to them and I just glance at them. Their eyes tell everything in a matter of seconds. They just tell me that they're lost. I don't. It's scary because we monks know that they're dead. They're alive, but they're actually dead behind the wheels. You know what I mean? Literally cognitively dead behind the wheels. So it's a very scary thing. Everything that you remembered in the Dhammapada today reminds us of that. Just to be luminous, and enlightenment and nirvana is. I took a picture of it. Oh, I'm gonna read it to you. Actually, I got it out of this book. This book that I didn't pay for at Barnes and Noble. Let me use the restroom real quick. Oh, goodness. Y'all can stretch if y'all need to, or lie down, rest your back for a second.
Oh my god, my pelvis just realigned. Come here.
No, I'm cramping.
Where?
It's on my back. I know what I'm doing. It's lower.
I'm trying to give you a difference since like running. It's funny, you can see it on their face, but you see it in their eyes.
Yeah.
Really like that one woman at my work, we spoke about.
Mhm.
She has like hatred in her eyes, so much anger, so much pain. And see like if you're coming into it's interesting. Go on your side. Just strain the back stomach and you
Huh, that was.
no, that was more flowy, but maybe you just like try to peel your back off like that. Really your spine.
That was
All right, so
my weight.
nirvana is found in this world. Temporary existence is the ground, the stage on which the drama of enlightened life takes place. The light of awareness appears through the lens of nothingness, dissolving the shadows, showing us the true world. The essential element of nirvana is found in compassionate relationships, interaction between persons and event. An intelligent, self-correcting consciousness develops an interaction with others and the world. So in a real sense, mind is world. The universe, as the Buddha said, is mind, and mind is universe. In a pattern of interaction, of interrelationship, mind cannot be separate from body or world, and yet no world or living body exists without mind. We express nirvana with compassionate love for others as ourselves in the peaceful harmony of the middle way. This harmony is a pattern of meaning that is not casual, not based in space, time, or matter. Nirvana is how this is possible. Everything is unique, perfect, just as it is, while also inseparably part of everything else. We exist in many realms on the relative plane of being, as well as the absolute. And yet both are part of each other. Without our everyday lives, jobs, relationships, and ways we play, we would not be who we are. But we are more than just that. Without enlightenment, we would have no identity, no basis for our relative existence. Each is part of the other. The middle way mysteriously emerges in the oneness between. Nirvana is beyond any possible frame of reference, transcending all boundaries. Everything is possible because nothing is possible. Each moment is new.
The last line. Each moment is new.
And that's why I said moment to moment, day to day basis. Death of a thought, birth of a thought, birth of a thought, death of a thought, birth of an idea, death of an idea. See, it requires intellect to understand that. So blessed are those who have the cognition to understand that and practice it and experience it for oneself. That nirvana is found in this world, right here in this moment.
There was something, one of the monks at the temple on the road said one day when we were there a while back. He said, just exactly that. Don't try to be happy for a week or a day or an hour. Just be happy in this moment. In every moment, remind yourself you can be happy.
Mm.
Moment to moment.
And it is exactly that found in the breath, is it not?
Yes.
In breath, bud, out breath, toll. Bud, toll. That we find so much peace in those moments. And we see, I have some of these very wonderful students that says, I'm sorry to disturb you. They were reflective and smart enough that they were in fact disturbing. Because that's why monks meditate. They just enjoy that bliss of enlightenment during meditation, after meditation. Why do they live in the forest with the mosquitoes? Because the mosquito teaches them something, to tolerate, to live in harmony with those who can be. If you can't tolerate a mosquito, you can't tolerate humans.
Ain't that the truth?
You just look at how monks live their life and where they really gravitate towards nature. Nature is where nirvana is most conducive. The green, the breeze, the crickets, the lizards. They go out there and just watch the miracles of life unfold, moment to moment. They sit there and they watch a flower just bloom, unfolds, different colors. The parrots, the tigers that come and look at them, nods their head, keep walking. So we have to be wise, right? That's why we live amongst concrete and asphalt and other humans that run around the same concrete and asphalt. Sam shaves his head. He likes it. He meets with my teachers. And I told Sam, this is our little secret code, right? Secret code of the bhikkhus is that we live a certain way. We live according to the rules of conduct. We carry ourselves differently. Yeah, we blend in society sometimes. But we know that we live differently. We see things differently. We don't attach. We don't attach. We don't do a lot of things. We do exactly what this book tries to tell us to do. Nothingness. One with all. And you have to study so much so that you can create your nirvana by and through the relationships with you and other people. The relationship with you and yourself foremost. Peace within yourself and the interaction with other people. That makes it worthwhile and meaningful. It's the hardest thing to do. It's complete chaos. It's complete chaos. It's the dance. It's the skillful dance to dance. But if you do it right and if you live in accordance to the dhamma, then you won't look like one of those guys that we described earlier. You'll be one of the most graceful people that the world has ever seen. And you have so much to give back in wisdom as you become older. The great respect afforded to you, duly deserved because you have lived the good life and now live to tell about it, to inspire the next generation of peace, of well-being. You know, one day I will have time again and go into a nursing home and carefully select the ones that I think have lived a good life. And you just sit with them and you said, Martha, do you mind telling me your life journey? Well, just to walk through the hallway alone, you can tell 90% did not live a good life. And it is that 10% that you want to seek and interview before they die. You gather these stories and you realize, wow, loved much, learned to let go quickly, lived gently, more roses and less thorns. And how you learn from that and how you can be one of those person, whether in a monastery or in a nursing home. Hopefully down towards your 60th year, if you like this life, the layman's life, then somewhere down the road when you decide, all right, well, maybe I got enough wisdom to teach the younglings and ordain somewhere around 50 or 60. Typically, I think Americans would want to do that at 50 or 60s. To Asians, less than 35. And once you've mastered all of the teachings or most of the teachings or 80% of the teachings of the Dhamma, and you retire in a monastery setting where whatever accumulated in those 50, 60 years of your life, now you let go. No different than monks that I have seen who've lived a full life and then became a monk, and then I watch them meditate every morning and I realize they're letting go. They're trying to, if you want to fly, you have to let go of things that weigh you down. And that's what they're doing. That's what I see them doing. When you walk in the gyms, you see people picking up weights and doing this. When we monks look at other monks meditate, we see them taking the weights off and throwing it away, setting it down. That's what they're doing, moment to moment, minute to minute. Whatever they've accumulated, we don't know. Do we want to know? Probably not. But that's what they're doing when they sit back straight, shoulders relaxed, relaxing all the muscles on their faces, bringing a small smile to their face, and realizing that I am unloading today. Today is a good day to unload all the stress, all the breakups, all of the accumulation. We just let go. And then you watch them change. In the monastery, you watch people change day by day. You watch how they eat better, they eat slower, they enjoy life. You see miracles unfolding as they eat, as they sleep, as they walk. You see enlightenment happening. Enlightenment in action, actually. Just when you see a monk do walking meditation and you just now zoom in on his feet, the 3 steps, right? Leaves the ground, pushes forward, makes landfall. And how gently it makes landfall. And you realize that he's in nirvana right now. Right now. We're watching it unfold right now. Every branch he's stepping on, he realizes he's kissing the earth with his feet. And as he mindfully eats, you watch how he eats. You watch how he closes his eyes. And may all the calories I absorb translates into energy for the benefit of humanity. And he slowly opens his eyes, grabs his chopsticks, and eat mindfully. Enjoy. He eats mindfully. Enjoy. He's grateful with the teeth that he still has left. The vigorousness of each chew. Just every single movement is enlightenment to him. Realizing he no longer has a lot of time. No different than at Mass Sunday, right? Sunday when there's Catholic Mass, when the priest, this is the body and this is the blood of Christ. And when he breaks the bread and he takes it and he absorbs the body of Christ, reminding himself Christ is now in him. And everyone just watches as he's conducting Mass. And everyone realizes in those moments, the priest is full-blown enlightenment. right there and then, right in the altar. And they embrace for their own as they get in line to receive the body of Christ. Literally, when you're in line receiving the body, every step you take closer to the priest or the deacon, and you see people put their head down, it's literally like entering heaven. Literally, like the gates of heaven is right there. And once you step up to the priest and he looks at you and he says, body of Christ, and he places the bread on your hand, all of it slows everything down. It literally slows everything down. That's why the Catholic world lasted for so long in its rituals and practices, in the religion itself. If you ever analyze or ever experience it for oneself, it's very enlightening. Still different than our practices into the small details of enlightenment of our practices. And then take the bread and then put it in their mouth. Is it white bread or is it wheat? As you chew. And then they do this, the sign of the cross to give thanks. And they go back and on their knees at the chairs and they pray. And they repent their sins and they ask for forgiveness. It is one of the most enlightened in a whole week. That's why, if the Lord studied from the Buddha, which BBC documentary states, then the Lord got that right. Keep the holy Sabbath day, because he knows in the 6 days, y'all mindless. So make the one day mindful. And that's all I ask of you, as the great Lord. You know what I mean? And so I've never stopped to analyze or tell you all how I analyze or tell you all what to look for when you're ever in a monastery and just watch certain monks. Of course, maybe a few don't really do things mindfully. And then, you just spend some time overseas and go to certain places that's in the forest monasteries and watch how monks move. And you just realize that, oh my God, it's like their heaven. We just walked past the gate into their heaven and we just see a bunch of orange or browns running around. And they're just like, so this is what it's like when I die. Like it makes you feel that death is safe. Because they've already passed the deathless state. So you come to a certain realization, all of our practice put in together when you walk there and you realize that, wow, everyone here has conquered death. And when you see the humans move, it seemed like they have lived past it. They have superseded death. And is now there. It's amazing. It's an amazing observation to see, just to observe, just to watch, just to learn with just watching. And in the moment of watching, you're grateful that you have the ability to watch, because not a lot of people, open their eyes this morning to see this, or you're just there, or the ability to afford the ticket to be there to watch it. The miracles of it, and that's why I took a picture of the book that I could not afford to read to you all. I just wanted that right there, because I realized that, yeah, wow, somebody figured this out. Whoever wrote this book was quite academically enlightened. Nirvana is in fact found in this world. Any questions so far? Any doubts so far? And when we see that, and when we really truly know what it means, and when we see that and we somewhat envious of that experience, somewhat desirable of that experience, it's a good type of desire, just for a moment, and realize that if we continue, because the instructions already here in the Nikayas, in the three baskets, that we can in fact get like them without having to shave your head, without having to don the robes. You can still experience that, and just one day, just try it. It's not far to follow their ways, and the instructions have laid out. The question just becomes if you're disciplined enough to do it. A lot of people ask me, where do I start? And it's like, the precept is the first place where you start. The entertainment, the music, cut back on it if you want to experience that, or keep on subscribing. Are you still at peace? What happened if one of the characters die in the show? well, you're no longer at peace because you didn't want the character to die. That was my favorite guy. That was my favorite gal. Entertainment creates a whole new hell of that world versus the world of enlightenment. The road less traveled. So one day, I hope to go to Thailand. I'm pretty sure once I explode in Thailand, a lot of senior teachers are going to be like, okay, well, clearly you are fit to be an abbot. And they gave me a little monastery in the forest. That's when you got to get an email from me and said, I finally got a monastery that I'm running. And then you all have to really drain your bank account and go there. Because that's where when you just step into the forest, the forest of the land of the Arahants, where they're just there. It's just enlightenment, the land of enlightenment's there. The whole different energy. Just the city of Thailand alone, you walk in and you realize, oh, whoa. Nonetheless, they're forest. The villages in the forest. You have to experience it. I don't know why I did not say Thailand in the midst of my Trova trip for people to start clicking and doing their thing, but it's okay. Vietnam too, all of Southeast Asia. You have to experience it more in order to know. And I hope you students get to that point. That must be Alex. I need that room at 2:00, Alex. What time do we have? 11:24. So stay on top of the science of happiness, especially me screening these questions for you all, and you are all kind of like, yeah, we kind of know a little bit about it, and I'd like for you all to solidify that. It will be useful for you and for the many down the road. It's not a waste of time. And it's I've calculated so far about 10 hours of it that could be knocked out in a week.
Yeah.
Kind of like binge watching Netflix will make Professor Laurie Santos your binge watching for study of enlightenment. And take notes. The amount of information that is on the screen when you do that, and now that you have a laptop, yeah, Coursera dot whatever or com. It is
down.
Good. Coursera. It's free. It's free. And I hope that out of all the definition of enlightenment, what I hope the very least you get out of it is academic enlightenment. Right? When you start with the academic level of enlightenment, then it translates into action thereafter. Now that you know, you're no longer at fear when you know. And with the best available, I mean, they've all done the work for us. Those who sit there and realize the life of a scientist, 8 to 15 years of their life in gathering data to get to the truth and bottom line of a subject. You know what I mean? Of the science of exercises, all of the science behind it. I mean, it's such a miracle unfolding. So, yeah, I just want everyone to just reflect on that. It's, when people say it, that you don't really stop to reflect. As we come to a near close end of today's session, let us meditate. Let us renew ourselves by a quick stretch, mindfulness of the body, shoulders, arms, legs, hips. Let us bring our attention to our spine, every vertebrae in our spine. L6, L7, C4. The same spine that gives us life, alert, awake. The stem of a leaf. Let us bring awareness to our shoulders in the midst of this posture, to relax our shoulders, to relax muscles on our faces. Let us bring awareness into how grateful we are to have the energy and health to be here. A small smile. Feel the teeth that you have. Oh, I still have all my teeth for that steak tonight. Grateful. Grateful for all of the assets still here. Let us take our first 3 deep breaths. Let us enjoy every inhale. Let us enjoy every exhale. Let us listen to our breaths. Let us stay present with the rising and falling of the abdomen. Let us bring the awareness back to our spine. Let us take 2 more deep breaths. And let us slowly bring our awareness back, relaxing our concentration. And when you're ready, you can arise from your meditation. There is a reason for you to be here and the causes and conditions for you to be here. You know, in Thailand, there's a lot of monks and there's a lot of lay people. So how come all the lay people don't become monks or nuns? Because they realize by and through the workings of karma, it's not their time. The cause and condition is not right at this time. So they go and they give the respect to the monks to receive the teachings for those who are fortunate. Those who are fortunate enough to become monks met criteria, conditions, ripened. And certain lay people have commitments, right? They have grandkids, they have kids, they have bills, they have obligations, but they cannot be a monk at this time. Likewise, for the people who come to listen to the Dhamma, one must live skillfully. One must try to move things around in one's life, give up some things in order to be here, in hope of the achievement of long-lasting peace. The Buddhist teaching have a profound impact on our world, shaping societies and individuals for thousands of years and leading countless ardent practitioners to free themselves from suffering and attain lasting peace. And it is blessed of those who see their suffering, see it clearly, the ability to see it, because for the ones that we have previously described, feel like hell, look like hell, obviously they didn't see their suffering. We see their suffering. They couldn't see it themselves. For 60, 70 years, imprisoned by their own minds. So realize the miracles, the blessings, the lottery that you have won, the biological lottery that you have won, the ability to awaken now, versus those where we do have compassion for, because there is a good possibility that they didn't win the lottery like you did. Maybe down the road, maybe a miracle will happen. But for the many humans that I have come across, the odds stacked quite against them. Some of us teachers look at them and we're just like, how can you be so blind? Is this an intentional act of blindness that you don't want to see the peace, the light? So I just want you all to really reflect on your own miracles and your own enlightenment. Though small, though incomparable to the text, still a small level of enlightenment. Those small miracles that comparable to other humans. Study birth defects alone, and you realize what a miracle you have turned out to be. Not deformed, no extra Y, no extra chromosomes, no extra damaged alleles. Oh, what a mess. So create the causes and conditions always to live in accordance with the text. Be mindful of drinking, be mindful of eating, and just watch all the little miracles unfold. And just the water bottle alone, right? Ever analyzed how far it had to make its way to here?
That's
Spring water from where? Maybe Zephyr Hills? Well, did you do any sort of reverse osmosis for all the bacteria to get out of there so it don't eat your stomach inside out, to make it safe according to FDA guidelines, to package it in a nice, beautiful, textured bottle? Just opening it alone is like, ah. And once you get to Thailand and Vietnam, you realize that it's not spring water, that you're drinking cancer. Then you'll miss, oh, I miss American spring water. That was in fact inspected by FDA. Just all the little simple things like that in life leads one to be more grateful, enjoy good health, enjoy happiness. Any questions so far? No questions so far? So I last week I should have, do this, but of course, little Johnny was here and I had to really start measuring little Johnny, and I made those observations. So the more students in the room, the more it throws me off having to gauge faces, gauge strugglings, internal conflicts. I have to catch and then figure out, how am I going to address this young person? So hopefully, since he lives in your household.
No, he lives about an hour away.
Oh, that's terrible. So he don't get to see it. He doesn't get to experience what you guys.
Not regularly. Unfortunately.
See what I mean? The causes and conditions to hear the dhamma. Causes and conditions to be around others who meditate. Whether it's a nice, peace, quiet life or a very turbulent young life. Turbulent for how long we wouldn't know. Suffering for how long we wouldn't know. But definitely a good case study to follow. To see how suffering unfolds and how karmic debts play itself out. And whether the kid actually keeps the precept. And as a result of not keeping the precept, how much his karma compounds. You all are young judges in the making. That means sit and watch. Young scientists in the making. Sit and watch. And you just watch how karma unfolds in the young man's life and hope for the best. You do what you can. You repeat, even though sometimes it feels like it doesn't stick in their head. You never give up on them. You give them much hope, love, compassion, understanding. To understand them, you have to listen to them. The art of learning how to listen to them. Their pain, sorrow, struggles. We try not to judge. But we try to put ourselves in their shoes. What it was like to be 14. What it's like to come from a volatile home. We tried to bring them the taste of peace. Hopefully at the right time, at the right place. And if it leaves an impression on the kid, he'll be smart enough to realize, I like this more than what's back at home. Or wherever he's at. And we just pray that his intelligence, all the bridges will line up within the intelligence arena to join us one day again. It's my work with young people. It's just the constant vigilance of their life, their journey. And Sam's come a long way. You made a lot of sacrifice. You have forsaken in my 20s, I'd rather not run away from the police. In my 20s, I'd rather not experiment furthermore with drugs. In my 20s, I'd rather keep the precept. In my 20s, I'd rather learn long-lasting peace. Incomparable to your counterpart friends who likes to fly across lanes and test their mortality.
Icarus.
Which, like you just said, put yourself in their shoes, and I was once them.
And to have awakened at 20 years old. 21? 21 years old. Boy, was I still dumb at 21. I think I was dumb till 26. So that in itself is a miracle alone.
I know that I have a limited amount of time and a lot of work to do.
So, and you have practiced giving more and taking less faster than any other student I have seen. The kid gets $50 from his parents for some odd reason, an argument over Cash App, and gets $50 for free, shoots it over to me, shoots it back to at his friends, gets rid of a dresser. The dresser makes its way to the office. So along the way, that laptop is on its way to retirement. So I decided to give him a MacBook. Now he has a MacBook to further your studies and practice.
I'll live a little longer.
Don't chat with females.
Nope.
Big booty Judies. Don't look for them. And to think 2,600 years of text, of his words. He was born on this planet. He was raised on this planet. He achieved enlightenment in his planets. And his words now lies in the convenience of your laptops.
That's crazy, man. That's so cool.
What's also crazy is that I paid $120 for the Dhammapada and then found out that it was free on ebook.
Yeah, but you got it in paper now.
Yeah, I know.
So the internet crashed.
Then I was trying to download the 674 pages. The laptops just didn't want to do that, clearly, or else it would be on the screen right now. But so then I have the physical book. And I screened through the Sukha Vaga story, and it wasn't all that impressive. So I decided we're just going to keep it what we've got, short, concise, to the point. Some stories I'm just like, who did what to who, where, how does this relate to the quote? I don't get it. So I'd rather use the quote and use real life examples, and that's more clinical oriented than 2,600. Who, Kovila, and who? You have been impressive so far. And Sam's now helping out with the one-on-one sessions. A lot of students have been dodging me, so I'm like, here, talk to Sam, and Sam will sink his teeth into it. They don't know Sam, so they're like, huh? They just answer questions. And he's been a big help so far. What's happening here, proceeding on forward, is, so Eric got off of a 2-year relationship at 17 years old. Enslaved by sensual desires, led one to great attachments. Post-toxic breakup, he went into severe depression. And somewhere down the line came back into my life at the right time. So I took him underneath my wings for 2 months, spent $4,000 on training, day-to-day operations, $4,000 by the grace and miracle of karma. They gave me all the cases. Number one, easy interpretation cases without little effort, so that I can turn those efforts back into the students It takes hours with them, day to day with them, weeks and months. I'm trying to compress years of conditioning into months that I don't have. Money that somehow magically appeared. Karma is kicking everybody's ass in society for me. The domestic violence, the fraud cases, all these cases, karma is just like. But now he's not here today because he finally overcame perhaps 70% of his depression and 20%, 40% of his anxiety.
38.
And now out and about, knocking on doors, getting pressure washing
Sweet.
stuff going on. He's got, I think he's made $300 so far.
Awesome.
So my hope here is hope, not expectation, is that the younglings learn to manage money better, accumulate good amount of money, set some aside, and reinvest it back into our programs. Eric has 2 kayaks because he couldn't be here. The 2 kayaks, obviously couldn't come with him, or else today would have been a good sense of weather for us to go. And it would save us money if the 2 kayaks were here, given the 5 humans that are always present. But at this point, across the world who's watching, obviously everything is, that hungry ghost is shutting off my Facebook or whatever here.
And the dhamma download.
But at this point, there's times where I'm asking why or how some of these individuals came into my life at the times that they do. Because after Stephen, I've decided I wasn't going to train anymore. It was time for me to focus on the things that I needed to do. But how could you say no, right? How could you say no to early praise and promises that presents itself with overwhelming evidence that they are, in fact, could be the light and hope, the next light and hope in the world? Sam so happens to be one of them. A difficult one to tame. Headache for sure. Tylenol for sure. Tylenol 1,000 milligrams for headaches for sure. 4 times a day, and no maximum than 6 times a day. But through certain constraints in budgets, hard for me to walk away from and say no and say you're now off on your own. I mean, I can easily send anyone off on their own, right? Because all of the library of teachings are now available on YouTube. You want it, you dig for it. Simple, even though it's all over the place. You want it, you will sit there and discipline yourself to listen the messages that I have left. But he's giving up. This is one of a very profound act of giving up in hope for lasting change and peace. So therefore, I will bend over backwards my own back, my own aching back. More Tylenols. To save those that duly deserves to be and can be saved. Whether they'll come back to contribute to our programs, who knows? Quite frankly, who cares? A gift is a gift. You give and you don't expect anything in return. If their heart true to the Dhamma, they will always give more and take less and know where that indebtedness lies if it crosses their heart. Just like how they've seen me and my former teachers and former teachers now, the indebtedness that I show, the continuous and forever indebtedness, eternal. As long as I live, I will continue to give back to them, even though they invited me out to eat. Even though they try to give me back now. Even though some are no longer monks, even though some are no longer venerable, I still hold them in deep veneration. But yes, I did in fact delay my own enlightenment. And yes, I did in fact delay a lot of things that needs to be done. But I'm gathering a lot of data and research. for the next book to come, with the latest book being finished, was that I finished reading, not wrote, by Dr. Carrera, who spent 50 years with youth. The very small book hit so hard at home because I am doing his work. And if he was here, I would like to tell him, did you know I'm doing this for free? You all had all this money to do, and you're telling us not to give up and not to do this and what to do, what not to do. And I'm like, I'm doing this for free without any help, you know. So there were a few people that made donations over the past couple of days and continue to give. Oh God, it's glare. So continue to give to the program, and you all get to see the many joy, laughter, them growing, smiling, living, and learning on TikTok. A lot of it is on TikTok as we're out and about buying groceries, Sam's Club, Publix, asparagus, chicken, to cook, learning to cook, to be self-sufficient. Everything we're doing is actually not for fun, a geeky, funny. What we're doing is to show them and their generation to be self-sufficient, to eat well, better, to cook on your own. Don't stop surviving on McDonald's. To sit, to study, to meditate, to fall asleep while studying, like Stephen did multiple times, to show effort, to show diligent, ardent practitioners, ardent students, ardent meditators. A once in a lifetime opportunity to walk with a monk in society and to learn to deal with people as we go along. So as we come to an end in this today, again, I'd like to thank all of the very small number of supporters. And before ending, as everyone knows, I come across articles from time to time, and the most recent one on CNN Travel, titled "The World's Happiest Countries for 2023." In the article, talks about benevolence, which is giving. Benevolence to others, especially the helping of strangers, which went up dramatically in 2021, stayed high in 2022. John Hellawell, one of the authors of the World Happiness Report, said in an interview with CNN. And global happiness has not taken a hit in the 3 years of COVID pandemic. Life evaluations from 2020 to 2022 have been remarkably resilient. By the way, there's a dummies book on resilient. That'll be the next one for you guys. The report says with global averages basically in line with the 3 years preceding the pandemic. Even during these difficult years, positive emotions have remained twice as prevalent as negative ones. And feelings of positive social support twice as strong as those of loneliness. Finland marks top. United States, number 15. United Kingdom, number 19. But at least we were in there. Let's make it to number 1 on the word benevolence, on giving more and taking less, on doing nice things for strangers. As it will help defeat loneliness, defeat alienation, inspire others to do the same, to be less lonely. We all know loneliness is a terrible thing. It leads to alienation, me versus them, all about me, my, and I. So a lot of reflections for all of our viewers in regards to the word benevolence and to practice it. There's, good to sitting here listening to me or to read articles, but to the active practice of giving to strangers, giving to programs, giving to St. Jude Cancer Foundation, to volunteer at hospitals, to volunteer at thrift stores, get out, do stuff. Don't sit in the home. Eliminate more Netflix subscriptions, eliminate more Prime, whatever, Zulu, Hulu, Disney. Okay, so Sam, make sure that you use that laptop for the right reason, for the right reason. Study, research, study and research. In your 20s, you must do so. Then you can relax in your 30s, right? In your 20s, study while your synapses, neuron, protons, electrons are firing correctly, ripening, malleable, plastic, to absorb the teachings, to look up words that you do not know, to trace certain suttas that you have not seen, and soon use that same laptop to answer to emails. There was a thing about emails, about how I should create an email and stay on top of reminding students. Quite frankly, I've been quite neglectful by not following up. And so now that I have, I believe, somewhat of a perceived long-lasting help that could endure more time than previously. I will announce this later in a different talk, for Sam to stay on top of people who did not stay on top of their own CBT. A good constant reminder for that, just the communication, and he's an extra eyes and ears to the assistant of the Venerable. So let us put our hands together to conclude service today. Yatha varivaha pura paripuranti sakarang evameva ito ninang petanang upakapati ichitang paritang tamhang kipameva samechatu sape purentu sankapachando panyaraso yatha manijo deraso yatha sapi diyo awiwan chantasa parogoa wina satuma te fawanto andarayo suki di hayuko bawa abiwan dan sile seni chang buddha bacani no chataro thamma watandi ayuan no so kang palang bawatasap pamanggalang rakan tu sapade wada sababuddha nuvawe nasadaso ti bawantu te bawadasa pamanggalang rakan tu sapade wada sapathamma nuvawe nasadaso ti bawantu te bawadasa pamanggalang rakan tu sapade wada sapasangka nuvawe nasadaso ti bawantu te. May you go off in safety, in peace, in happiness, in joy, joyful of the definition of enlightenment, joyful of what you have learned new today, joyful that you have the power to create your own enlightenment through the interactions with others, through meditation, through reflection, through walking, through talking, through eating, all of the simple, ordinary activities in one day. It gives us proof, gives us evidence that enlightenment can in fact be possible. You were born on this planet, you were raised on this planet, and you can in fact become an arahant on this planet. May you rejoice in knowing that you all have hit the biological lottery in having eyes, ears, nose, hands, and feet to crawl, to talk, to sit, to lie down, to listen, to comprehend completely, comprehensively, to understand, to take in, to reflect the teachings of the Buddha. May you use all the gifts that was afforded to you. Use it quickly, use it wisely to prolong your longevity, well-being, happiness of yourself and other people. May you know that certain gifts do not last forever. May you know that at any point in time, you can suffer a stroke. May you remind yourself you can suffer a heart attack and your gifts have been taken away. It is important to reflect on giving more and taking less so that karma rules in our favor. To continue giving us these gifts in hope to achieve enlightenment fast. May you come to respect the workings of karma, the mysteriousness of it, the timing of it. May you realize the light of your own true nature. May all of your wounds be healed. May you learn all of the medicine here to help others heal also. May you inspire other young people and your generations. May you become the next Dharma warrior the world awaits. May your heart always remain open, compassionate, understanding. May you cultivate yourself as the wise. May you stay away from fools. Learn to identify. Rejoice in good health, peace, and prosperity. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. My hands are cold.
Scalp.
Yeah.